Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Mental Health Moments. We are glad to have you along with us. The subject that we are going to be dealing with this time is one of the most prevalent subjects in our culture today that actually has a connection to so many other issues that people are dealing with in their lives. The subject that we're going to be dealing with tonight is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And before you turn the channel and say, well, I really don't need that, stay with us. You might be surprised. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and let me remind you at the very beginning that this again is called Mental Health Moments, and that's important to say this because this subject tonight is entirely too complex for us to be able to minimize into a few minutes. But what we hope to be able to do tonight with this is to just start a discussion in your life. Maybe you will see a few things a little bit clearer than you did, and it's really impossible to cover everything, but we hope to get to enough of it to kind of open a discussion in your life. And no other topic that we have discussed has been more anticipated than this one, and no other topic is this more critical than for me to say that nothing I say tonight is meant to be a diagnosis for anything that you may or may not have. This kind of thing is so important that it should be clearly left into the hands of someone who is specifically trained to do that. And in the research that I was doing for this, I found a great resource at the Mayo Clinic. So what I'll do at the end of this tonight, I'll include the links in there for you to take a look at what they say. So what is PTSD? According to the American Psychiatric Association, post-traumatic stress disorder is defined as this. It is a psychiatric disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event, such as a natural disaster, a serious accident, a terrorist act, war, combat, rape, or people who have been threatened with death, sexual violence, or serious injury. I think as you go down that list, you see that includes many of us. That's why I say stick with us. You may be surprised to find out that some of the issues that you are dealing with are a direct result of PTSD. It has been known by many names in the past. In World War I, it was called shell shock. In World War II, it was called combat fatigue, but it is in no way limited to just combat veterans. It can occur in all people of any ethnicity, nationality, or culture, and at any age, and approximately 3.5% of all adults every year are affected by it, and an estimated 1 in 11 people will be diagnosed with PTSD sometime in their lifetime. So think about that. 1 in every 11 people will be diagnosed with having post-traumatic stress disorder. This was very interesting to me, and maybe it is to you, but women are twice as likely to have PTSD as men. So it seems that that's something that you should be alerted to if you are female. You should be thinking about that. People with PTSD have intense, disturbing thoughts and feelings that are related to their experiences that last a long time after the event has ended. A part of the trauma of that is that they may relive the event through flashbacks or nightmares, and as a result of that, they may feel ongoing feelings of sadness, fear, or anger. They feel detached and estranged from other people. I find that to be very true, that people who are dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, many times they feel detached. As a coping mechanism, they will often avoid people and situations that remind them of their event, and they may have strong negative reactions to something that you or I may overlook, a loud noise or an accidental touch. I know that in my neighborhood they have signs around the 4th of July, maybe yours too, that say, we have someone in the neighborhood with PTSD, be careful with your fireworks, which means that it can disrupt your life in more ways than we are aware of. What we know is that it is much more common than we think. Over 3 million new cases are diagnosed every year. But the good news is that it is treatable. It is, as a matter of fact, highly treatable. So, as we like to do on this channel, is we like to get right to it. So let's get right to what the signs are. If you do a brief Google search, you will find, just as I did, countless websites that are devoted to this particular subject. And so what I'm going to do tonight is to just condense everything as best as I can to just a few things. And as we go down this list, see if you find any of those things that maybe are in yourself or someone else. Number 1, physical pain. Headaches or migraines, dizziness, fatigue, chest pain, breathing difficulties, stomach or digestive issues All of those things are symptomatic of PTSD. Survivors of physical, psychological, or sexual abuse tend to be more at risk for developing certain types of physical illness. And so it's not uncommon for someone who is struggling with PTSD to have migraines and dizziness and nausea and not know that that is what it was. Nightmares or flashbacks are very common. It's also known as the clinical name of re-experiencing, as they re-experience the trauma that they had before. And it can be triggered by thoughts, emotions, smells, something that someone has said or done, or by something as a noise. When they hear a particular noise, it gives them a flashback, depression and anxiety. We talk about depression and anxiety in so many areas of our culture, but it is a persistent cause or a symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. It causes paranoia and depression, withdrawal and avoidance. And this is one of the most common. For example, those who are involved in traffic, car collisions will, from that moment on in their lives, try to avoid riding in cars. Someone I know that's very close to me has that issue. They were involved in a traffic accident just a number of years ago, and now whenever they get into a car, there is great anxiety that they deal with. Maybe you have the same. Another symptom of PTSD is repression. That's the intentional blockage of memories associated with the past event or the experience. They try to do their very best to just block that from their mind. Maybe that is you, maybe someone that you know. You understand that that's how they're feeling right now. Emotional numbing, or at the other end of that spectrum, hyperarousal. That's interesting. It's common for people who have PTSD to suffer from jitters so severe that they can become, it's impossible for them to be able to calm down. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you have someone who has completely numbed themselves to their experiences in life. Irritability. That is a state of constant aggravation. Your fear and your paranoia can cause irritability in you, and we know this is true. Some of the friends that I've had that have dealt with PTSD, that they always have that. That's feelings of irritability, and people they misdiagnose it, say, oh, you just got a bad attitude, oh, you're just like that. And it's not true. It's not the case. It could have been like that since the event happened. I know that in my own life, I come from a background in law enforcement and saw many traumatic things, and for years in my life I absolutely rejected the reality of PTSD until it became impossible to ignore. So as I'm running down that list that I just gave you, I see so many of those in my life. Those are the main things, but there are many others. So let me ask you, have you experienced any of this? Are you currently experiencing any of that? Do you know someone who is? Our question is, what do we do? What we like to try to do on this channel is to get right to it. So step one is a recognition. So if you have signs and past trauma, and you go down that list, maybe you watch this video again and you see, I've got several of those things, then it may be an indicator that you might have a problem. So what do we do? Well, it sounds simple, but it's real. Seek help. Find someone to talk to, a counselor, a therapist. I was talking to someone about that just this week who was dealing with PTSD, and their response was pretty classic. They said, no, I'll be fine. I'll just, deal with it and I'll be fine. If you're involved in a high trauma occupation, whether you are a soldier, police, fire, rescue, first responders, medical field, any of those kinds of areas, you should definitely be aware and alerted to this. You should reach out to someone, seek help, find someone to talk to. I encourage treatment because treatment can help you regain a sense of control over your own life. And it's better than just kind of avoiding the situation. Teaching you skills to address your symptoms, helping you think better about yourself, others, and the world in general. Learning how to cope with any of the symptoms that you have can help you regain control of your life. Treatment also helps you process those traumatic experiences that you've had, and it'll help you deal with your anxiety, your depression, your misuse of drugs or alcohol or anything else. So what are your thoughts? Each week we bring it to this point and we ask you, what are your thoughts? Do you have any suggestions? Have you dealt with this? Do you see it in yourself? Do you see it in others? If you need to, take the time to rewind this and watch it again. Start from the top. Go down that list. See if you have any of those issues that are going on in your life, because it is very important. I had someone contact me just today before we went in to film this that said that they were dealing with this, and if that's you, all of this, I hope, has been helpful to you. As always, we thank you for being with us. If you would, share your thoughts in the comments. If you have some suggestions, if you have found a particular resource that has been super helpful for you, if you wouldn't mind sharing that, someone could probably use that. Your thoughts, your input is very helpful. If you feel like this content has been helpful, share it. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you're not, click that notification button. We deliver new content every Sunday night. We, as always, hope this has been very helpful for you. And throughout this week, we will be dropping some resources here on Mental Health Moments so that we hope we can help you process these challenging issues of your life. We appreciate you being there. Have a great day.